Novo Nordisk, the company behind Ozempic and Wegovy, just launched a pill version of the revolutionary weight loss and diabetes drug. So while we're out here in San Francisco for the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference, we took the chance to check in with Mike Dustar. He's the new president and CEO of Novo Nordisk itself. Take a look. Mike, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's go for what everyone has wanted. No one likes to give themselves an injection. You've got a pill for GLP. What's it like? How's the business going?
It's going very well. First of all, I have to correct you, and there are a lot of people that like injections, but you're probably right.
Who likes?
Well, we have, around 10, 15 million people right now on GLP-1 together with our competitor.
What's it?
So that's going well. But I think you have a point that there are a good group of people that basically have been waiting for the pill. After all, injection does come with injection phobia, needle phobia. It comes with taboo, societal taboo. And also it comes with the burden of refrigeration, which our pill does not have.
When someone opens your refrigerator, they want to see a beer. They don't want to see a needle.
That's true. I think we are seeing actually that the pill is able to expand the market.
Yes.
For a large group of people that have been waiting. Predominantly, I would say the major barrier has been the taboo. If I take a pill today, you will not notice anything,
No.
and then you just let it go by. If I pull up my shirt and inject myself in front of you, you'll start thinking about me. And a lot of people have been, of course, waiting to get rid of this taboo. But the refrigeration is an issue, and I would say it's an issue especially for many of the markets. Now in US, of course, it's probably better, but in many markets where refrigeration simply doesn't exist, not necessarily in people's homes, but imagine the cold chains that you need to move the product from A to B.
And people don't know whether it's good or bad.
That's also true. So we are super excited.
Well, you should be. One of the things that I know that a competitor has told me over and over again is there is a belief after 13, 14 months, they didn't want to take the shot anymore. There wouldn't be any fatigue if it was a pill.
Well, we have to wait and see. I actually have come across a number of people that have started the injection and have said that once a week injection, let's say on a Saturday at home, is what they prefer compared to a daily pill. But I also have come across people in my own family that have said any day, every day, single pill is better than any type of an injection. So I think the truth about obesity is that we treat it as one group of people right now. We say 2 billion people have obesity. The unfortunate fact is that this is a multiple diseases with different needs, different types of people, and you have to have the product offering that caters for all, which is what my company is about to do.
Mike, I am glad you're there because saying that, because tell me, I'm going to mention some illnesses. You tell me whether it could work. Hypertension.
Absolutely. I think that, one of the things that, of course, we take a look at many of our drugs is it supporting and helping hypertension. I actually think it goes beyond hypertension. If you think about obesity as a disease, unfortunately, you don't die from obesity. You die from issues related to obesity, hypertension being one, high lipid, cardiovascular issues, kidney issues, liver, fatty liver. So,
which for people should know, alcoholism can produce a fatty liver.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things that we are really proud about this Wegovy pill is that, as the name says, it's a Wegovy. So it's not only reducing your weight, actually at the same level, 16.6% as the injectable version of Wegovy, which is quite unusual, and we can discuss that a little bit later. But it also comes with a label that shows you the CV benefits, the cardiovascular benefits, because it's the same molecule, semaglutide. So I'm very happy that today, when you take one of these pills, you're not only supporting and helping your weight management, but you're also getting into some of the comorbidities that is associated with obesity.
And we knew when we first heard this that people said it will always cost, say, $1,000 a month, and therefore would break the bank of whatever country, including ours, supported it. That turned out to be totally untrue.
$149. $149. So, which is a learning we have had that if you want to really make this accessible, then you have to put it at a price where everyone can afford it.
And it's something that the president and you both agree on.
We have actually, and I think that it has been a good learning that negotiation with the MFN opened up everyone's side. That we have to. I mentioned 15 million people or so are on GLP-1 in this market. There are 100 million people with obesity in US. Very few people talk about, what about the other 85 million? Everyone talks about, is Novo winning versus Lilly, who's changed,
right.
and the compounders that have 1 million patients over here. I think the unmet need is actually about the people who are not having their products. And a lot of those people are not getting their hands on these products, not because they don't want to, because they couldn't afford it.
Okay, well, let's talk about the compounders. We know their organizations. I see their ads. A fraction of the cost. Should I trust some compounder that really hasn't been approved by the FDA making a pill for me?
They're knockoff products. So this should be completely illegal. And I'm very surprised that in this country, this is still legal. It shouldn't happen. This is something that happens typically, I wouldn't want to say Banana Republic, but it should really happen in emerging markets sometimes, where you close your eyes and let it go by. But in US, to have products that come into the market with API from China that is not gone through rigorous testing of FDA is just a safety issue. Forget about the business side of it. I would not want to give this to anyone I love. And unfortunately, this is still continuing. And we will continue to actually talk about it and fight it.
Okay, now, there are some people who say, wait a second, this pill isn't as effective as an injection.
That's absolutely wrong. If they're talking about Wegovy pill, okay. I think there is an element that pills are usually chemical entities. They're small molecules, and when you actually take a pill, it comes with the compromise that its counter-injectable part then is more efficacious at the burden of injections. Wegovy pill is a biologics. This is a protein and peptide, and I think when you actually decided to encapsulate this protein with a special mechanism that it can bypass your gut enzymes and get to your bloodstream, most people thought this is just scientifically not possible.
Okay.
But we went through it and we did it, and I'm so happy that we succeeded because as a result now, you have a pill or a pen, right, both of which reduce your weight by 16.6%. So you don't need to compromise anymore.
Okay, so tell me, Mike, what happened? You had a firm lead in this, and then Lilly passed you. What occurred?
Yeah, I think what typically happened is the world started to think that we came to this business 30 years ago.
Right, when people felt diet and exercise was the key.
Absolutely, and when we went there, Jim, most of our peers, if not all of our peers, made fun of us. They actually, I remember many of our peers telling us, why are you guys going there? There is no money in it. And our company, and I'm of course a little bit subjective here, our company went there because we saw the patients. Obesity is a very visible disease. We saw the patients, and we also noticed that these patients are typically those who are later on suffering from type 2 diabetes. And as we were in that business, we had to go there. But as we went, of course, there, we had to learn that obesity in some ways, from a patient point of view, very different than diabetes. Right. When a follower comes after you, they learn about your mistakes and they adapt some of those, okay, and they benefit. And I think, I have to give it to Lilly, they've done well, but they also had the pleasure of seeing some of our mistakes and fixing those as they go along.
Okay, they've been fixed and you've been instrumental in doing that. Tell us once again, if someone wants to get the cheapest version, what do they pay and where do they get it?
Well, if you have a copay and your insurance company agrees to your prescription being dispensed, then it's $25.
$25 for something that was $1,300 2 years ago.
With insurance,
$1,300 a month.
That's true. $25 if you have insurance. Now, if because of pre-authorizations and or any obstacle that the insurance company puts upon you, you cannot go that route and you want to go through the e-health providers, right. It could be through Novo Nordisk Pharmacy, right, our own pharmacy, or through some of our partners, Weight Watchers, Roe, LifeMD, right, Costco. Then the price for the initial dose is at $149. Right. And then it basically goes to $199 and eventually to $249.
Still incredible. Now, I do not want to it's wrong to slight your rare disease efforts. You've got some really good things, but also sickle cell, which is proven to be impossible. It may not be.
Correct.
What have you got?
I think most people, of course, forget about our efforts in rare diseases because we're so predominantly known for diabetes and obesity. But we have some fantastic new launches coming up. We have, of course, the sickle cell drug that you mentioned, Etavo. We also have something called MIME-8, which is stopping the bleeding for hemophilias better than anything else. 98% of the bleedings that were tested in the clinical trials were basically
I remember when it was
stopped.
70%.
So this is fantastic, and we're looking very much forward towards the end of this year to introduce some of these drugs.
Excellent. I want to thank Mike Hustar. He's the president and CEO of Novo Nordisk. Once again, $25.
$25 if you have insurance.
Incredible. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Coming up, can Medtronic continue to build on its productive 2025 gains? Cramer's asking the CEO how the medical tech giant will keep advancing in 2026. Next. Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on X. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadMentions. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.